If you're doing something that you don't like to do, you won't be happy. You won't keep doing investing. So let's get really clear on that. If you're doing something you don't like to do in investing, you will not continue to do it. You will not continue to earn the returns on that, even if you're getting good returns. Okay? So you in investing, it's more than just numbers. It's also your personality and your risk tolerance. It is your personality. It is what lights you up. It is what your talents are. I am Christina Suter, and this is the Real Estate Breakthrough Show, where we talk about the reality of real estate, the mindset you need in order to face the reality of what it is, and tips and tricks to get you moving forward in investing. I am your host, Christina Suter. Let's talk about the overview of you as an investor. And I've kind of precursored this with the conversation we just had, which is, I don't care what your job is, and I don't care what your educational background is, and I don't care what your intelligence is. I don't care what your background consists of or what country you come from. But here in the United States, at least, the biggest thing that you need to cultivate in being a real estate investor is yourself and your education and how you can approach investing in real estate. So let's talk about you. Let's start with the most important single factor, which is you. Okay, you and investing. That's where investing starts. If you own something, like let me give you a really good example. Do you want to be a flipper full time for the next, 20 years so that you spend 40 hours, 50 hours a week talking to construction crews? Does that light you up? Does that make you really excited and you go, yes, that is so me? Well, if that is true, then we know where you want to go in real estate. We know what you want to do. But if you're like me and you go, no, I don't want to. I don't want to be kicking somebody's patootie 5 times a day, 5 different contractors working out what the right next step is to be done by such and such. I don't actually like it. I have to confess, I have flipped, and there are parts of flipping that I really enjoy, and there are parts of returns I really enjoy, but I am seriously considering that maybe being a flipper is not my favorite form of investing. And you may be having the same reaction, which is, no, it really doesn't sound attractive to me. If you're doing something that you don't like to do, you won't be happy. You won't keep doing investing. So let's get really clear on that. If you're doing something you don't like to do in investing, you will not continue to do it. You will not continue to earn the returns on that, even if you're getting good returns. Okay? So you in investing, it's more than just numbers. It's also your personality and your risk tolerance. It is your personality. It is what lights you up. It is what your talents are. I am not a good cop. I'm a good cop, not a bad cop. I'm okay at flipping, but it's not my talent. My greatest talent is not yelling at people. That's not my greatest talent. My greatest talent is teaching. I'm actually a really good teacher. My best talent is teaching. So I don't really want to do the pieces of real estate as my primary job in real estate that isn't my best. So let's talk about it's your personality. Risk tolerance. It can go wrong. Trust me, real estate can and does go wrong. One of my favorite mentors, somebody asked him once, how many times out of your escrows do you have problems? He said, out of about 20 escrows. And the guy went, yeah, how about out of 20, out of every 20 escrows, how often do you have a problem? The answer was 19 out of 20. So real estate can go wrong and it does go wrong. Are you willing to risk that it will go wrong? So what is your personality type? What is your risk tolerance? How much are you willing to risk on having something go wrong? Is it a very small percentage of your portfolio? Is it a very large percentage of your portfolio? Is it, I only have $10,000, so I risk all 10,000? Or it doesn't matter whether I have $10,000 or not, I'm only willing to risk 5. What is your risk tolerance? That, it can go wrong, it will go wrong, and it can go wrong. So what are you willing to risk? This is what you need to know about yourself. Risk tolerance is influenced heavily by information, education, and experience. Notice I'm a big proponent of education. Any job that you want to do really well in, I'm a big proponent of getting deeply educated in it, just in general. But real estate's the same way. The more educated you are and the more you allow yourself to experience, either by a mentor or by shadowing somebody or by just trying a smaller version of it yourself before you dive off the deep end, information, Education and experience will expand your risk tolerance. I know, I've observed it personally for myself. Let's talk about the next element. I call it your sleep factor. So, and really I should call it instinct and self-respect. The less cash you have out, in general, for most people, the easier it is for people to sleep. If you have zero money in the bank, or let's say you're in debt, is it harder to sleep than if you have $10,000 in the bank or even $100,000 in the bank? Which is easier for you to sleep? So there's an instinct that absolutely is at play when you are an investor. This is you and investing. Topic is you and investing. Notice that's what's on the top of my screen is you and investing. It's about you so that when you invest, you are successful, not just financially, but mentally, aren't exhausted at the end of the day. And emotionally, maybe we even can go so far as to say fulfilled, that you feel fulfilled by your real estate investing. This is you and investing. Okay, sleep factor. The less cash you have out, the easier it is to sleep. I call that your instinct. Your instinct wants shelter, food, safety, instinct, cash in the bank. But you also want to have cash out so that you're earning a return. And this is more of your will. This is more of your self-respect saying, hey, I'm an investor, or I want to be an investor, or part of my portfolio or part of my life is investing. I'm saving for my retirement. I want to earn a return on that. My self-respect, my will desires that I earn a return on what it is I have out working. So this is constant balance, having to do with your, I call it sleep factor, having to do with your sense of safety between instinct and self-respect. Natural talents. Now, if you've been listening to me before, then you know someplace along the line, I always say, well, often say, get out a piece of paper and a pencil and answer these questions for yourself. So risk tolerance, answer that question for yourself. Where are you? Can you put all $10,000 into something? Can you put your whole nest egg into one project? Or do you want to keep half of it aside? Do you want to keep half of it in cash? Do you want to keep half of it in cash and a quarter in investing and a quarter as a backup? What is your risk tolerance? You need to know that for yourself. And if you don't have a good way of answering it, keep getting yourself educated because your risk tolerance will become really clear to you. Sleep factor. There's a number in your head. There's an instinctual number in your head that says, I need this much money in the bank to feel safe. Don't violate that number. That number might be $500, might be $5,000, might be $10,000, might be $100,000, might be $300,000. But don't violate that number because your instinct will not let you sleep well and you will not enjoy your investment portfolio. Okay? Do not violate your instinct number. Maybe you can negotiate about it with yourself, but don't violate it. Don't give away everything you've got if you need a savings account. Everybody needs a savings account. Everybody has an instinct level they need in the bank. Don't violate it. Natural talent. Do you get people or do you get businesses? I get people. I'm kind of a psychology teacher person. I like people. I love acting with people. I get people, even though I have a bachelor's in business and I have a teacher's credential. I have a master's in psychology. So you can see out of the 3 degrees I have, 2 of them were more people and 1 was business. I get both, but I like dealing with people. So I get people. I also do get contracts. I read contracts really, really well, and I get math. So I have a tendency to enjoy interacting with people, but I don't want to yell at them. But I like interacting with contracts and math. I understand those boundaries really well. So I actually have a tendency, even though I get people, I actually have a tendency to be on more the business end of real estate versus the direct management end of real estate. Because I like the lifestyle I get in running contracts and numbers because I understand them and it helps me define where my boundaries are. Do you have a background in construction, interior design, project management, accounting? Do you have a background in one of those and you feel like that's your talent, or it's at least a skill set? Maybe it's not your primary love, but it's a skill set that you can at least bring to the project. So is that your natural talent, or at least an area of deep expertise that you can bring? You can be an interior designer, works great. You can be a contractor, works great. You can be an actuary, works great. You can be a lawyer, works great. You can be an actuary, an auditor, works great. There are so many things that you can be. You can be in construction, works great. You can be in hair design, and it works great. Because in real estate, it's such a diverse field that the way you participate in real estate, the way you start in real estate can be based upon your natural talent. Let's do hair design. Let's say you're good at hair design. Okay, What does that mean? You probably have a pretty good eye. It means you might be a really good stager. It means that you might be really good at interior design. It means you might be really good at seeing the interiors of a space and what it could be, right? It could be that you have a good sense of style or systems. That will be useful to you. That natural talent that makes you a good hair designer will be the thing that can also be used inside of real estate. Maximize on it. So write down, what are your talents and what's your experience? What are the things that you're already knowledgeable and educated in, and what are your natural talents? Now, the last element I have here is control. Control. Are you somebody who wants to touch it, see it, feel it? Or are you somebody who doesn't care whether you touch it or not? Okay, I'm somebody who doesn't care whether I touch it or not. I'll give you an example so you can judge for yourself who you are. I owned a multi-unit in Van Nuys and a condo in Brea. And notice Brea is very different from a multi-unit. Oh, and I owned a townhouse in Fairfax, Virginia. I owned all three. The reason why I use these examples is because Van Nuys is not very far from where I live. Brea is about 60 miles away from where I live. And Fairfax, Virginia is a plane flight because I live in California. So Fairfax, Virginia is a plane flight, is 5 hours away. Here's my reason why I bring up this story. I visited all my investments, regardless of where they were located, about the same. I went to Brea about once a year, and I went to Fairfax, Virginia about once a year. I really don't need to see it. I don't need to feel it, see it, touch it. I'm okay. I need to understand the numbers, and I need to understand my management person, but I don't need to see the asset itself. Now, this is very different from other people who say you want to buy within biking distance of your home, or you want to buy within a short drive of your home. Why? Because they want to see it, feel it, touch it, so they understand what's happening with it. So they get the kinesthetic feel of it, or they can directly be there to meet people, to intervene and control it. Which one are you? So just imagine in your fantasy that you own something really far away. And how comfortable does that feel? Or imagine in your fantasy that you can drive 15 minutes down the street to the rental unit you own down there. Which one feels more comfortable to you is a natural answer to what kind of control you like to have. All right, so this is just the beginning of You and Investing. Stay with the educational segments, guys, because I build on You and Investing all the way to what's the right investment for you. So these go together as a grouping, even though they're going to be released separately. So You and Investing, part one of building towards what's the right investment for you. I am Christina Suter, your host. Thank you for listening to Real Estate Breakthrough Show, and I look forward to hearing you guys next week.